What's up, y'all? Welcome back for another episode. We got a good solid Saturday to dig into this thing. So let's take a look and see what we got going.
No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
Okay, so it has been a tough week here. I mean, we've been 100 degrees plus with killer humidity all week. So I've been coming out here and just like doing a couple of spot welds. You know, do a round of spot welds, go back in the house. Do a round of spot welds, go back in the house. So not a whole lot done out here this week. But I did get this all welded up, and I got a little bit more welding to do down there. So I'm good with that. And I started grinding here yesterday. In fact, you can see how humid it is. We're just flash rusting like crazy. So did a little bit here, did a little bit here, and this does feel much better than what we did on the other side. So I'm pretty happy with those. So anyway, today is supposed to be a high of 88, a little less humid. So that's good. It's going to be a little more bearable out here. So what I'm going to try to do today is I want to get this piece made, and I want to get this fuel tank off of here because we're going to have to cut in here and do some welding and, you know, do this back here. So kind of want to get that old fuel tank out of the way. All right, so let's get going on that and see what we got. All right, so let's pull this thing out of the garage so we don't get grinding dust all over it. Still have not come up with a plan on what I'm going to do with this yet. I really need to dig into this motor or dig into the problem with this thing, why it was over fueling. And like I said, there's some kind of motor noise. I don't know if it's lethal or not, but I think the first thing is figure out what's going on. So I think it's got a little miss in it, but anyway, we're going to dig into that later. I really want to stay on this thing and get this, all the exterior body welding, grinding, yada yada yada, paint removal wrapped up on this thing, and keep moving on it. So I don't know if the 61 is in dry dock for the winter yet or what, but it'll be a busy few weeks coming up. So probably today and tomorrow is the only days I'm going to get out here for the next at least week and a half. So okay, anyway, so I pulled the door off, gas door off, pulled that off. Let's I soaked them bolts down with some PB Blast for last night on the gas tank straps. Let's see if we can get that thing off without too much hassle. All right, that worked. These hangers came right off. So yeah, look how clean that thing is underneath. I mean, this whole van was pretty rust-free except for that spot over there that we cut out last week. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this and work with it. I don't get to work with rust-free stuff too much. But anyway, this tank is, like I said, this van sat since 2005, and it's got gas in it. So I imagine it's pretty nasty in there. And I know I got a good tank on the other van, so. Plus, there's two different tanks you could get in these G-Series vans. So this is a 20-gallon. The one in the other van was a 30-gallon. And so I'm going to go with the bigger tank. So let's go ahead and cut this thing loose. And we'll get it out of here. And we'll pop the sending unit and just take a look inside, see what it looks like. Alright, we got her out of there, so tell you what, it's got a lot of gas in it and it sure smells rough. So, I don't know what was living in this thing during its hibernation, but it sure liked acorns. They are everywhere. Let's see if we can get this thing off. See what it's like. Just curious. This thing's plumb full. Ugh. That is pretty rough. Whew. Alright, let's just put that right back where we found it. Pretend we didn't see that, because we're not going to use it anyway. Have to drain this old gas out of it somehow. And get rid of it. Don't even smell like gas. Probably might need mostly water. I don't know. Well, I had a gas cap on it, so it's probably old gas. So I have to get some help and flip this thing over and drain it into some buckets, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. We'll figure that out later. Okay. So, take another quick look underneath. That's out of the way. Oh, my acorns. But yeah, I mean, solid, solid, solid. Exactly what I wanted to see. I'll tell you what, I'll have to look at the other van. But I think the other van's got a bigger rear end than this one does too. Just the size of the pumpkin. So it might be a different rear end. It'd be interesting because they're only 1 year apart. This is a 91, that's a 92. This is Chevy, this GMC. They were both conversion vans. What's up, sweetie? Beautiful wife. All right, back in a minute. All right, so I'm doing this side a little bit different than I did the other side. Actually, I did the rest of the truck. I do all the welding, all the grinding, then all the paint removal. So over here, I just kind of, you know, did a bunch of spot welds, and I do a little something else. And I do some spot welds, and I do something else. And I do some spot welds, and I do a patch. You know, we took the tank off, and then I went ahead and finished grinding this down and knocked the paint off this section here. So it's, my brain kind of likes that variety a little more instead of just doing all of one thing, because you know, the grinding is just tedious. So anyway, now we've done a little bit of that, we'll get off of that, and we're going to make this piece for the back of the rail. So here is my template from before that we made this piece with. I saved that, and we should be able to flop it right over here. And it looks like we're going to be a little short. Let's see about how much there. So we're, I don't know, a couple inches short. Maybe an inch. All right, so we'll trace this out, and we'll cut it out, and we'll add, I don't know, 1.5 inches to the end of that. And then we need to make a side piece for it, for the, you know, we need a piece going down here like this, so we got something to weld to. And then like the other side, we'll do the inside piece of that after it's on there. I'll probably just make those together and put them on. So let's, let me move this door that I still haven't touched again. And we'll get the thick metal over here. We'll trace this dude out and we'll cut it out. All right, got the old tried and true electrical panel steel out here again. I really like this stuff. Not to hit the electricians up at work. See if they got any more laying around. If they're replacing any transformers or panels. I'm going to use this on floorboards. I broke my pencil. I've used this on all kinds of stuff. I really like the way it cuts and welds, and it's heavy duty. And it's free, that's the best part. Trace this out. So yeah, free is always good. So we're going to cut that out, then we're going to have to look at that. I can't remember if I use this gauge or I've got some thinner electrical panel steel over there. This came off a huge junction box. The other one was like the side panel off some transformers. Let me get this cut out and we'll take a look at what we're going to use for a side piece, and we'll get that welded on there. Okay, so it fits pretty good. We're going to have to do some tweaking like we did on the other side. So I want to figure out where my strip is going to go from here to right there. So we're going to make a strip to put along there. Let me check this other side. I think I made it out of the same metal. So well, you know I couldn't have, because I only had one piece of that, and that shape was cut out. So I think this is actually out of the thinner stuff. So we'll do that, and we'll knock the powder coat off this side, which I'll do. That's nice because you got the powder coat on that side. I can leave that on there, and yeah, that's gonna work. Okay, let me measure that. We'll cut a strip for that, and we'll get that welded on there, tacked on there, and then we'll get this thing put into place and see what she looks like. Alright, so I don't remember if I showed doing this last time or not, so we'll do it again. But here's my top piece, and I cut a strip 1.5 inches wide, and we're just going to weld this dude to this. I'm just going to tack it and kind of wrap it around there, and then we'll put this thing in place. So, let's see what we got here. Remember, I didn't fully weld it because I didn't want the heat to kind of warp it. We finished it up as we attached it. So, mark right there. And just button these together. Trying to, where you got a little edge on both of them. First couple in place to hold it is the trick. Wire's a little fast. That's better. Walking around this curve as we go. That's why I use the thinner stuff here. have the steadiest hand and lots of dropping on something. That's age or too much coffee or what? Actually came up a hair short over here. Over here. So there's my mark, and that's where I need to be. So I'll find a little piece of scrap, weld that dude on there, and then we'll take this over for a trial fit. So back in just a minute. Alright, so there's our piece. Got the edge on there. So, see how it's going to fit. I know we're a little long here. We're going to have to trim that off. Not a big deal. So we're going to have to manipulate it in there a little bit, but I think that is looking pretty good. There you go. All right. So, if I remember what I did last time, I just kind of tacked here and then went down there and trimmed that, got that down level, and tacked that dude in there. So let me get the welder over here and hook it up, and the cutting wheel, and we'll do a little manipulation. I'm trying to find a good camera angle to show this, but not exactly what I want. We'll go with it. So, do this on about 3. Let me turn my fan. I got the fan blowing right on me. It blows the darn shielding gas and gives me problems. So what I'm going to try to do, let's see if we can put a clamp on that. That'll work. Ah. Oh, dog. A little tight. I'll have my gloves on. I'm going to end up slicing myself open on this thing. Just not wide enough. I don't want to stay on there. Yeah, it's not reaching all the way in the lip underneath, so I guess we're just going to have to hold it. Once I get a tack on it up there, right? There, I don't know. burning some heavy stuff here. Right there. Guess you need this thing. Alright, one more time. The speed got cranked up. Okay. One more over here. Okay. Now, I'm going to trim this off so we can push this down flush. Straight piece of something. I know on that other side, I kind of went back and rounded some of this and made this transition look a little better because it looks like you're straight here and then it's cocked here, but I was able to work it and get it looking pretty good over there, so probably what we're gonna have to do. A little gap there, not too terrible. Right there on the corner. That's really good. A little bit here. go down to 2 in this thing. Oh, we need this sheet metal here. A little for this thicker stuff over here. Alright, so I got a little trimming to do here and here, pretty much like I did on the other side. That's on there. The reason I want that on there first before we do this is I want stability in it. So, I'm not going to worry about finish welding that in right now. What I want to do is do this and do this. Let's take a look at what we did on the other side a second. I'll show you what I did that I don't like, that I want to do different. So over here I used a corner of that top for this piece, which worked out pretty good. Flat piece here, worked out pretty good. Filled in a piece where this marker light goes, but the problem is I didn't make this long enough, and I ended up with this little piece in here, and I got a lot of warpage going on there that I'm not going to cut it back out now. You know, maybe in the future if we ever paint the thing, which I probably won't even do it then. I probably just try to hammer and dolly it and straighten it out, but I don't want to do that again. So I want this piece to meet up with this piece. So last time I did the marker light first. This time we're going to cut all this out first and do that. But to do that, I need to get all the paint off of here. I need to get the stripe off of here. So let me take a few minutes. We're going to knock all this paint off. We're going to knock the stripe off. I'll knock the paint off down to this corner. And then we'll look at making these two pieces and see what we got. Back in a minute. Alright, so I went ahead and ground the welds on this patch and knocked the paint off all the way back to here. Knocked the paint off all the way up to here. So what we are going to do is we're going to cut this light out. Oops, got some thunder going on. Tell you what, the temperature has really dropped. I think we're about to get a storm. Might have to pull a Chevy back in. Anyway, I think first I'll grab some lunch, and then we're going to go ahead and do what we did over there. We're going to cut this light out, and I want to try to go all the way back to here with a piece. And like I said, eliminate that little middle piece over there. So let's see if we can make that work. And I'm just going to kind of mirror where I cut over here. So I can probably just measure down and cut that. And yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, so back in just a few. Okay, so we chopped a nice big hole in the back of this thing, and there's our piece to come out. So let me take a look at what we did over here. So first we had a flat piece going from here to here. If I want to do that first or if I want to do this corner first. Tell you what, let's go ahead and cut this corner out of here. I think that's probably a little long, but we'll go ahead and take that piece. And yeah, let's cut that up. Well, let me measure. We'll measure there to there, and then we'll mark it and cut what we need out of there, and just kind of see how she fits in here. So let me get that cut and we'll be back here in a sec. All right, so I got this piece cut off and cleaned it up a little bit. And if we put this on this curvature, it matches really nice. So I think that is going to work good. So we'll cut and butt this thing, but for now we're just gonna tack it in place. And I think I'll get the other piece tacked in place. Will I or won't I? Trying to decide, do I want to tack this in place, then this, and go back and cut and butt it all, or do I want to do a piece at a time? Let's go ahead and tack this in place. We'll go back and cut and butt this piece in. Yep, we'll do that. Okay. Get the little lower going here. So, trying to show a little more of the work today instead of just before and after. Helmet, gas, all that good stuff, temperature. Good. It's already right on the line down there. Cut that. So a little area to clean. Also trim this off here. Got that ready to put a little weld on. Squeeze this part up here. back down pretty low on this. I'm just gonna hold it in place and squint on this. I'm at in here. Right on that line. I don't want to drift down too far. Nice. Do a little snippy here. Looks nice and flush. Okay, that's good. This piece is going to come out, so we're not going to weld that. Let's go down a little bit. Over a little bit. Behind that. Good, I'm liking it. Okay. It looks good. All right, so let me go ahead and make this piece, and I'll get it put in there off camera, and maybe this piece too, and then we'll come back and take a look at it. But I don't know how good you can see that. Those edges are nice and flush. So it worked out pretty good. All right, let me get these other two pieces in, get them tacked in, and we'll come back and take a look at what she looks like. Okay, so I got this piece in and got it cut and butt tacked, I guess we'll say. I can already tell you, one thing I did on this piece I should have done on that piece. I put this in my roller and just put just a tiny bit of shape on this edge here, and made a huge difference. It looks so much better than that other side. So, but you know, that's how you learn. So that one looks good. This one looks good. All we need to do is cut this light out, and we're going to make a little piece for that. So let me go ahead and get that done and get it tacked in, and we'll take a final look at what this thing looks like. Okay, so that piece is in, and it's butt welded in, and it's nice and level all the way around. So we just got to finish tacking that in. And while I was doing that, I came over and ground another one of these down. So only one more to do, and then that down there, which I still got a little bit of welding to do on that. And then a little more around the lip and the door, which I haven't touched yet. But that is going to be it for today. And the next thing we are going to tackle, it's probably not going to get another video out for a couple of weeks. I've got quite a bit going on at work, and I've been promising my wife I was going to lay flooring in our basement, so I need to get on that. Anyway, the next thing we're going to tackle is the bed. And I was going to double wall this bed, put an inner wall panel all the way around, but I decided not to do that. If you look at these braces, they actually stick out a little bit further. They're a little wider than the square tubing we used, but these braces have a curve to them, and they've got this foam there, and they were made to support the walls of the van. So I'm going to reuse those, but what I'm going to do is cut these down the middle and just kind of overlap and move this front part in so it's flush up there, and then I need to attach them to the square tubing, obviously. Need to grind my welds on the inside, need to make my rail pieces for in here, but and we're going to make the back wall for this thing. One of the things I had thought about doing also was taking this bed down to bare metal, and I'm just not going to do it. The thought of grinding all that down is just a horrendous thought. So what we're going to do, we're going to patch the hole up there, which was the air conditioner. We're going to cut out the rest of that structure that was inside of that door. We're going to the floor over here. We're going to make a piece to bring that floor over to the edge, and I'm going to grind these inside welds. And what I think I'm going to do, and you know, there's some holes back here like where the old seats mount, we're going to weld those up. But I think what I'm going to do is just get a bunch of spray cans of truck bed liner and mask off the bare metal and just fog this thing. So I think it'll look fine like that, and that's what I'm going to do. And I can always go back later and put an inner panel in it later if I want to, but for right now I just decided I don't really want to, so I'm not going to do it. Okay, so that's going to be it. Let's go inside, get a word from the Lord, and like I said, we'll be back with another video in about 2 weeks. Pretty sure it'll be on the bed at some point. We're going to dig into the Chevy and get a little better idea and a plan of what we're going to do that. But I'm kind of foreseeing that being a winter project. We'll have to see. All right, back in just a minute. Hey, how's everybody doing? Thanks for coming along on this episode. And I think we did great. We got a lot done today, so I was pretty happy with that. And like I said, with the 61, I'm really leaning towards just swapping that other motor in. That old van runs so good, and it's got a new distributor in it, and the throttle body works good, and so all these little things that could be wrong, it's like I've got another really good running engine there, and then the knock in the bottom of that 283 kind of concerns me. So I'm just thinking out loud. We'll dig into it some more, and we'll see. So anyway, message for today. This is another one I took off of my Bible study app, and this says, "Does what I do really matter?" And it says, "Have you ever felt like your hard work went unnoticed or didn't make a difference?" King David is the only person in the Bible who God calls a man after his own heart, but even David felt overlooked. When God told Samuel to anoint the next king of Israel, Samuel met with Jesse and his sons. Each of Jesse's sons appeared to have the qualities of a good king, but God didn't choose any of them. If you remember that, David wasn't even in that lineup. He was a little young whippersnapper brother out in the field tending to the sheep, and that's who the Lord called. And as 1 Samuel 16:7, the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him." The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And great message there. Certainly applicable in today's world as it was then. And then Jesse said there was only one son left, David, who was watching the sheep. At that time, shepherds were considered unclean and dirty, which is probably why David wasn't originally invited. But although others overlooked him, God chose David to lead Israel. Even when David was unseen, God saw him, just as he sees you now. If God can use David, an ordinary shepherd, to do amazing things, then he can use you too. What you do when no one is looking is shaping you into who God made you to be, and preparing you for the plans he has for you. And absolutely, God has plans for you. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future." Just like David, continue to diligently put your faith in God. Today, spend some time connecting with the God who sees you, loves you, and values you through guided prayer. John 15:9 says, "As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love." So that is an awesome message, and when you think back about that, and when they were picking a king, and all of David's brothers, who were probably, manly men, and David was just, the little annoying brother that the Lord picked him. And well, I know I can feel that way sometimes. I feel like, as God overlooked me, and I can let my pride get in the way and think, I'm living a pretty good life. Maybe I should get some more recognition. But all of our good deeds are filthy rags compared to the Lord, and I need to be humble and remember that. I'm a lot different than I was years ago when I was a drinker and a drug user and a dope smoker and a womanizer, and I've changed a lot, thanks to the Lord. And but I can't pat myself on the back for doing what I should have been doing all the time. And I still fail every day. But I know the Lord loves me and forgives me, and the same for you. I know a lot of people out there who feel that way. That I don't know how many people I've heard that maybe grew up in church and aren't going to church anymore, and they'll say, "Well, I kind of need to get my life together, and then I'll go back to church." That is absolutely the wrong way to think. You're never going to get it together enough to be worthy to be in the presence of God. We need to be in the presence of God to continue to grow in that relationship, and and to improve ourselves. You know, we'll never get there. We'll never be perfect, but it's a growth process and a maturity process in our relationship with Him, and our obedience will be rewarded and will pay dividends. And the greatest reward we can get is to be able to pass this message on to somebody else, and maybe somebody who isn't saved will give their heart to God and share in that gift of paradise. That's the greatest thing we can do with our faith. So let's just have a quick word of prayer. Father, I thank you for your caring for us and your love for us, even when we don't deserve it, which we never deserve it. And just ask that you would keep us humble, and just keep us where we need to be. Help us to seek out to do your will, for the purpose that we love you, not for the purpose of any reward or for the purpose of we think we deserve better. We don't. Just help us to be obedient in everything we do and say, and just give us a chance to witness to another, and that we can do your work. And we ask this in the name of your precious Son, Jesus. Amen. All right, so hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment. If you got a prayer request, I would absolutely love to pray for any prayer requests you have. Drop them down in the comments. And thank you, everybody that's been watching and commenting. Make sure you share these videos with other people. And I will catch you on the next one.